Good day everyone. I am Bernize Alleyson Cabandong, one of the reporters for this group, and one of the two reporters that is assigned at the topic assessing control risks. So I am going to be discussing a story or a real life situation that happened that is relevant to our topic. So before we start our story, let us first know whom the Enron company was and why we are studying them and why exactly they are relevant to our subject. So Enron Corporation company was an American energy commodities and service company based in Houston, Texas. So it was founded by Kenneth Lay in the 1985 as a merger between Lay's Houston Natural Gas and Internorth. They are both relatively small regional companies. So before its bankruptcy in December 3, 2001, Enron employed about 29,000 staff. So that was a lot of staff they had employed, and they were a major electricity and natural gas, communications, and pulp and paper company with claimed revenue of nearly 101 billion during the 2000. So Fortune named Enron as America's most innovative company for 6 consecutive years. So as mentioned earlier, Enron company is now bankrupt. So with this raises the question why. Why did such a leading company meet its end? And it was a relatively big company. It's a huge company which employed 29,000 employees. And how exactly did Enron get famous by what we so-call the Enron scandal? So back to the story at hand. If you refer to page 287 at the PDF given by Sir A, at page 287, 8.1, you will see the story about Enron. So since our topic is about control risk, Enron certainly falls into this criteria. It will serve as a good lesson and actually a good reference to us, and they fall to this criteria. So according to the story, Enron was always at risk when making at risk of losing money when making a trade. So which para sa akin is normal naman, since lalo na sa mga malalaking company, especially in the US, when we are engaging about trade or any kind of business, since you're a big organization, hindi talaga mawawala yung risk, lalo na kapag we are trying to make improvements or making a trade, investments, hindi mawawala yung risk na yun kapag nag-engage tayo sa business. So of course, to engage in this kind of business which involves several risk factors, it was a given that they need to maintindihan nila at humanap sila ng paraan para at least kung paano nila ma-deal with or at least malimit yung risk na may encounter nila. So since all of their long-term deals was marked to the market, yung credibility ng revenue nila ay directly related dun sa interest components. So, parang nahihirapan sila na makapag-isip pa ng ibang concept para mas maayos nila mapatakbo yung Enron other than managing those kind of risks. So, the controls are the management best resource for managing risks. So, ngayon, papasok dito si Jeffrey Skilling. Si Jeffrey Skilling yung naging president and CEO of Enron from 1996 to 2001. He said, quoted, that Enron had one of the best control system in the world. That's what he said and claimed. Little did we know, though. So when he was inquired about the company's risk management abilities, lagi niyang pinopoint out yung risk assessment and control department. So, kasi, kaya niya ginagawa yun kasi gusto niya na magkaroon sila ng magandang image with regards to internal control. Since, kasi dito, ang gusto niyang iparating ba sa Wall Street. So, yung Wall Street kasi is home of the New York Stock Exchange. So, when he was inquired about that, it was actually a big deal. So, he wanted to build, or yung intention niya siguro is to build a good image of internal control na magiging attractive to the investors. Since, of course, because of their the company's RAC, Enron was able to establish themselves. Naipakita nila na isa silang company na kayang mag-take ng risk, like a lot more than their competitors. So by here, skilling, the company's president and COO imposed the requirement for the RAC department. That being said, this department, RAC, had to review all of their company deals, kahit yung mga international deals nila, big deals, they had to review all of them. So, RAC would look at the issues like currency devaluation, interest rate projections, and commodity price projections, and other elements that might factor into a given deal. So they take deals very seriously, so they have a lot of analysis to do, the RAC department, and this was required by their company president by skilling. So this was how the risk assessment control department operated. So by the time of the late 1990s, they had employed over 150 professionals with regards to commercial dealings. So they also have a $30 million budget and access to a $600 million computer system, which is a major advantage for them. So as for the failure of RAC, where exactly did RAC fail? So of course, skilling always bragged to the one who inquired about RAC that they are top-notch. They had one of the best quality control in the world. One of the best, right? As said by skilling. But I said little did we know, this is in fact only the surface. So, well, as said there, at the book, at the PDF, even though skilling bragged about the company's risk assessment control, it was not everything as it looks apparently. Like I said earlier, little did we know, right? It turns out that according to one of the directors, unlike how skilling delivered his answers, how he bragged about the company's RAC, everything was a facade. And in order to impress put the company in a good image, or have a good standing and towards rating agencies, and of course, what he wanted to attract the most was potential investors. So, ginusto niya na magkaroon ng magandang image yung Enron company. So everything he said was basically a lie, even though he said that they were basically undermined. The RAC, they had been put into a lot of pressure. So according to the director ng the RAC, one of the culture of Enron company was never to say no to a deal apparently. And even though, let's say that they already have a lot of project deals to deal with, they basically cannot say no to a business deal. So, in fact, he said that it was not even in the job description to say no. He told his staff that the RAC's charge was simply to describe a transaction, analyze its risk and possible returns, and tell the senior management, you guys make up your mind, something like that. So since they cannot say no to a deal, the RAC was put into a lot of pressure because if they know that there is a lot, because they know that there is a lot to handle, and of course, millions of dollars of numbers to meet, and they simply cannot do. They cannot say no because simply that they cannot do the part of their job. So another one that causes downfall of RAC is the PRC, which is the Performance Review Committee. So the Performance Review Committee was one of the pressure givers, as I said, to the RAC. The pressure given by the PRC towards the RAC was so enormous to the point that none of them wants to stand in front of a deal, nor question a deal. As I said, the culture of Enron Company is never to say no to a deal, nor question it. So therefore, if one did question a deal, they would get attacked by the business unit, the PRC, for the reason that they are not being as cooperative as they wanted. And so they feared those in the higher ups, retribution of the higher ups if ever they did leave RAC and live and work at the other parts of Enron. So the panels here at PRC is also the one that rank the RAC executives that handles the transactions. So it was far from being an honest evaluation because since it was mostly because it was hard to do something about the higher ups, about the unfair ranking procedure. As I said, the employees of Enron had this fear of the PRC, or the Performance Review Committee, and also the employees were scared of standing up even to the possibility that they will lose their job. So one even said that with regards to the unfair ranking procedure, that it doesn't even matter if how you do your job or how you perform your job, your qualifications. What matters is that you have a connection. So if you knew someone, then which is pretty against the business ethics, then you're hired, and you will get a high ranking. You'll get a position. That is if you knew someone. So even if you are someone with qualifications, you know how to do your job, handle your job, without knowing someone, the culture of Enron will not take you seriously. So Skilling was quoted in a financial journal as saying, "Only two things at Enron is not subject to negotiation, which is the firm's personnel evaluation and the company-wide risk management program." So this is basically the two things that they failed, right? But that's not only the things they failed at. So of course, as you can see, Skilling was very proud of this, the firm's personal evaluation policy and the risk management program. But all of this, all of what Skilling was saying is basically a facade, a lie, in order to build the image of Enron, in order to attract investors, potential investors, and also give good ratings to his company. So this was basically fraud because he had to lie in order to get things going without really putting through the effort, or even the RAC, even if the RAC, his department, could not handle what the deals that is being signed. So according to the fraud had irreversible consequences. So this is what resulted to the bankruptcy of Enron. As I said earlier, right? Enron had gone bankrupt at December 3 of 2001, and as said in the from the from their assets of almost 90 billion, their the at their bankruptcy they had a value of $0.26. So that was a big downfall for Enron, right? So the key takeaway is this: that Enron's leadership had fooled regulators with fake holdings and off-the-book accounting practices. So even against it is really against the accounting policies and business ethics. So at the end of the day, it was a lesson to be learned from Enron because, of course, we know that maybe there are still company practicing frauds, but looking at the story of Enron, they may have to rethink what they're doing, right? So I hope you learned something today, and thank you for listening to me.